The Mi 10 Youth Edition sports a 6.57-inch FHD Plus AMOLED display. Sadly, Xiaomi chooses to keep high refresh rate AMOLED displays exclusive to its more expensive offerings, leaving this phone with a 60Hz display. It does get a 180Hz touch sampling for better sensitivity. The display maxes out at 800 nits and sports a water drop notch instead of the punch hole on the Mi 10 and Mi 10 Pro. The smartphone adopts a beautiful design. All the four corners of the smartphones are a standard rectangle in 6.57 inches size. The Mi 10 Youth Edition supports NFC and offers an in-display fingerprint reader, an IR blaster and thankfully a 3.5mm headphone jack. Under the hood is a Snapdragon 765G which offers 5G connectivity, RAM maxes out at 8GB, storage at 256GB. With this RAM and processor, you can expect a smooth experience when scrolling and using power-intensive apps. Cameras are where the Mi 10 Youth Edition shines. It sports 4 rear cameras, a 48MP main sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide-angle lens, and a 2MP macro lens for close-ups. The star of the show, however, is an OIS-equipped 8MP periscope lens capable of 5x optical zoom, 10x hybrid zoom, and 50x digital zoom. You can record 4K video at 30fps and 720p super slow-mo video at 960fps. The selfie camera is a 16MP sensor. In addition to the quad camera setup for still photography, there are a few AI-based camera tricks too. There is the sky replacement tool, which is now familiar to you all by now. Further, users can also shoot a video with inset previews for both the front and back camera, recording much wider context and reactions. There's a 4160mAh battery with Quick Charge 4 Plus and UDP PD 3.0 support for fast charging. The Mi Note 10 Lite sports the same 6.47-inch FHD Plus AMOLED display on the regular Mi 10 Note. The device comes with a water drop style notch which holds the front camera. It is powered by a Qualcomm Snapdragon 730G chipset. The device comes with two variants, 6GB of RAM and 64GB of onboard storage, or 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. If you consider the price, you are getting a good deal with the spec provided by Xiaomi. It also features a 3.5mm headphone jack. The phone comes with MIUI 11 based on Android 10 out of the box. Mi Note 10 Lite featured a quad rear camera array along with dual LED flash, a primary 64MP Samsung GW1 sensor, an 8MP ultra-wide camera, a 5MP macro lens and a 2MP depth sensor. You can record 4K video at 30fps with this device. Over to the front, the Mi Note 10 Lite have a 32MP selfie camera. As for the power, there is a 5260mAh battery with 30W fast charging support. With this battery, you can easily go through a day without any trouble. The Xiaomi Poco F2 Pro brings back the pop-up front-facing camera, which we haven't seen much of in 2020 compared to 2019. This ensures the 6.67-inch AMOLED screen isn't broken up by any notches. Poco F2 Pro features an almost completely bezel-less display, with the company quoting an 87.2% screen-to-body ratio. It offers 180Hz touch sampling for better gaming. The display does deliver HDR10+ support. The chipset in here is the Snapdragon 865 paired with 6 or 8GB of RAM depending on the variation. This is the top-end processor available to Android phones at this time, and that should ensure great processing speeds. You will have no trouble playing games in this device. The Poco F2 Pro is also a 5G phone. Poco F2 Pro is made for the gaming enthusiasts in mind, with a massive cooling system, a large multi-layer graphite, and 9 built-in temperature sensors. It intelligently predicts and controls its internal temperature, ensuring sustained peak performance even when you are playing games for long hours. There are 4 rear cameras on the phone consisting of a 64MP main, 5MP telephoto, 13MP ultra-wide and 2MP macro snapper. But there are a few camera features that might impress, including 8K video recording and a macro shooting mode on the telephoto lens as well as the dedicated macro lens. It can record 8K video at 30fps and 960fps super slow-mo video at 1080p resolution. It sports a motorized pop-up 20MP selfie camera on the front. The Poco F2 Pro features a 4700 mAh battery with 30-watt fast charging support that charges the phone fully in just 63 minutes. The Mi Note 10 Pro brings all the features of a top-end phone but without the top-end price tag. It's got a beautiful curved HD screen with a 6.47-inch Super AMOLED display. The colors really pop, max brightness is pretty high, images look textured and contrast is good. At the top of the screen there is a small teardrop notch in the center which houses the front-facing camera. There is a Snapdragon 730G chipset here paired with 8GB of RAM, which is a decent mid-range processor that's optimized for gaming. The headline feature of the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is its camera. The 108-megapixel main sensor is the first of its kind on a smartphone in the world, and it's such an important part of the phone's identity and Xiaomi's marketing strategy. There are 5 lenses on the back. The main camera is 108 megapixel. An optical image stabilizer for the main lens is on board, as is a flash. The main rear camera is joined by a 12 megapixel sensor with 2x telephoto lens for the portrait mode, a second telephoto snapper, this one with 5x zoom and 5 megapixel sensor for zoomed shot, another 20 megapixel ultra-wide camera, and finally a 2 megapixel macro snapper. The main 108 megapixel camera takes absolutely incredible shots. Forget the iPhone 11 Pro, Huawei P30 or even Realme X2 Pro. This phone takes some of the best looking pictures you will get from a smartphone. Everything here is on point, colors are rich, contrast is great and images are bright. Also you can record 4K video at 30 fps. On the front, the Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro has a 32 megapixel camera housed in the teardrop notch, and it comes with various filters and features. Selfies looked pretty vibrant and high quality. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro's battery capacity is 5260 mAh, which is a lot bigger than what you get in most modern smartphones. It also supports 30-watt fast charging. The Xiaomi Mi Note 10 Pro is a powerhouse in so many ways, and we can definitely recommend buying this phone. The Xiaomi Mi 10 and Mi 10 Pro look very similar, with screens that curve at the edges and that are broken up by punch-hole cutout cameras in the top left of the display. On the back there's a camera bump in the top left corner. These phones have a 6.67-inch OLED screen with HDR10+ support and a screen refresh rate of 90Hz to make content and motion look a bit smoother. The Xiaomi Mi 10 and Mi 10 Pro both run on the top-end Snapdragon 865 chipset paired with 12GB of RAM and 512GB of storage options. That chipset has an adjacent 5G modem. One of the most important features of the Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro is the 108-megapixel main camera, which takes fantastic pictures and supports 8K video recording like the Samsung Galaxy S20 series. The Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro has a 20-megapixel ultra-wide camera and 2 telephoto lenses. One of these is 8 megapixel and supports 10x hybrid zoom, and the other is 12 megapixel with 2x optical zoom, which is used for portrait mode. Pictures taken with the phone looks great and delivers great dynamic range and color accuracy. It also have a 20 megapixel front-facing camera, which is a pretty decent resolution for selfie snapper. It comes with 4500 mAh battery capacity. This phone has a 50-watt fast charging, 30-watt wireless charging and 10-watt reverse wireless charging, which lets you use the device as a wireless power mat for other devices. Xiaomi has a reputation for producing quality phones at affordable prices, and Xiaomi Mi 10 Pro 5G is another example of that.